Today we're going to create a liquid lead tone with the Valeton GP-200. If you like modeling units, like I do personally, you may struggle sometimes with the problem that some of the cheaper units, they seem to have these harsh presence frequencies which are very unpleasant to the listener, especially when playing direct to front of house. And some of the high-end modelers, they seem to have better quality algorithms and also IRs, so that these upper frequencies there seem to be more natural, for example with the newer DSP plugins or also with the XFX. But you can get rid of these unwanted frequencies also with cheaper units like the Valeton GP-200, which I would like to show you today. So I created my what I would call my liquid lead tone with this thing, and that is the sound. Sounds full and rich to me. So let's take a look at the preset. I will open up the editor for you here, and as you can see, this is the effects chain, and I will go briefly over the blocks. First of all, I am using the Scream OD Tube Screamer emulation here. Honestly, I didn't change the default settings, but usually I would set it more or less like this, which sounds also fine. So let's save it. Then the next thing in the chain is the noise gate. Of course, you have to use it. If I turn it off, you can immediately hear the background noise. The amp I'm using is the Mesa Dual rectifier in vintage mode, and I'm using a third-party IR by Ownhammer, which I will come back to in a second. Also, I'm using an EQ, a mono delay, and a hall reverb. So I will turn off the reverb and the delay. That is the pure sound. And the thing with these frequencies, which are annoying, which I dial out here, is or what I do first is I usually set a high cut in the IR section if possible. And as you can see here, I set it quite drastically at about 4.4K. That seems to be a little bit well, drastic for you, but honestly I do it by ear, and it depends on the slope that is implemented in the cut filter. So if it's very flat, you can go way more far down than if it's just immediately cutting off the frequencies at the above these given frequency here. So if I don't use the high cut, the IR would sound like this. And that is something which would be totally fine in a recording situation, I think, because the recording sounds, they have way more higher frequencies usually than the live tones. So usually for a live tone I would use a high cut, and as I said, I go by ear. As you can hear now, in this region here, you don't hear any difference. So the region maybe above 10K, because there are very few frequencies coming from the amp. But then it starts, and I ended up here at somewhere around 4.4. Honestly, I have to say this IR sounds really well balanced by itself. So usually, maybe that would be enough just to cut it here, and I could go with this tone live. But if I listen closely, it's not my favorite high gain tone, because it has a little bit of too much of the high mids, these Marshallish mids I call it, which I tend to dial out usually, for at least for leads, because they seem to be a bit honky. So I use usually an equalizer, and here, as you can see, these upper mids are on the 2.2K fader, so I dialed them out a little bit, and also I raised 750 Hertz a little bit, and that depends on the IR, of course. So usually I end up by cutting the highs, but then again applying some kind of a V shape. And here the V is more or less in the upper region, but usually, or sometimes it covers the whole mid frequency spectrum. It depends on the sound. So please check out my video with the Nuix MG30, where I was also very happy with the tonal result, but there the V curve looked totally different from this. So you have to do it more or less by ear. And I prefer to use a parametric EQ here, because usually the highs and lows I would like to boost equally above a certain frequency. So usually the parametric EQs, they should come with a maybe high and low shelving filters, so that they are affecting all frequencies above the given frequency. But unfortunately this unit doesn't come with a parametric EQ here. So with the graphic EQ you have to find out the one which addresses the frequencies you want to affect. In my case it would be the upper mids here, but this might be a little bit too much. So this one with the 1.6K fader is maybe not the right one. Maybe here it would be the 3K, it's way higher. It's a little bit better, I think. Let's try to bring some sizzle back. But yeah, in this case I ended up with the Mesa EQ. As I said before, let's go back to the original. So yeah, these are basically the tricks which I apply, cutting the highs and then adding some highs in a balanced way, and maybe some lows. So applying a V shape in the EQ. I did it with some of these amplifiers here, for example with the Angle Savage. Soldano. Sounds full and rich to me. In most cases I'm reducing the mids a little bit. Of course, for this V shape you can also try to use the EQ and the amp. But in most situations I'm not quite satisfied. But with this amp it seems to work somehow. By the way, this is a Soldano amp model, as you can see. Same thing with the 6505. So, to be honest, with this third-party IR, it's way easier than with most of the stock IRs. And I recommend to check your IRs properly so that you can find out the one which is maybe the closest to your goal sound. And especially if you don't have that much options in the EQ section, like in this model amp. Anyway, I tried to do the same thing with the stock IR so that you beautiful ladies can try it out by yourself. I ended up with this sound. But there is one frequency in the upper highs, maybe it's around 3K, which is still annoying. And I couldn't get rid of that. There's a UK lead here, so maybe we should try out another IR. And what else can we use? What do we have here? Oh, that is a harsh IR. Doesn't sound that bad, but really you have to use a high cut here. Maybe you can go more down. That is maybe a little bit too much. Now we can hear it, but there is something in the upper frequencies here. Maybe the 6K should be reduced with this IR. Yeah, so the other frequencies. Yeah, there's something here around the lower mids. So let's compare it to the one with the bone hammer. Okay, it's way louder, this patch. It's a little bit more scooped here. Well, let's raise the volume here. To be honest, that sounds really nice. It's not that scooped here. You can try to scoop it a little bit. Seems to be a phasing issue somewhere in the mids. Sometimes it helps if you're using the faders next to the one which you're using drastically, so that these slopes are a little bit more well, more even. Here maybe you can hear this pick attack, which is somewhere here around the 3K. Might be a little bit annoying. So as you can see, it's still the key that I cut the highs here, but I have to do a lot of EQing to get to my desired result. And as this EQ has only 5 bands, I'm using these EQs here. In addition, yeah, so really I wish that this would come with a Permatic EQ, but unfortunately it doesn't, but it doesn't sound bad at all. Let's check out another stock IR. Maybe the angle, because that is a cap which I own. I own the real angle cap. How does it sound without the EQ? Sounds already nice. So maybe we could try just to reduce the 750 Hertz, which is to me the center of the mids. Well, we have the 800 here. Did the Mesa have 750 Hertz? Ah, yes. So might be a little bit too much. To be honest, I like this more than the EVH cap, but let's just finally check out some of the other amp models with this Soldano. As you can hear, this Soldano has more Soldano has more of these 2 or 3K frequencies, so maybe here I would dial out these. Also, less bass. So you can get quite satisfying results with the stock IRs, but as I said, it's easier usually with the third-party IRs, which are more balanced in my opinion. Anyway, so I hope this helps you to get the best results with your modeling unit. Subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.